not an easy question. It's not. I will add this. Let's see if I can. I guess so. There's a couple of questions that I get asked a lot, kind of in the same realm, and it's like it's stuff like it's like I know a lot of guys here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of guys who are, let's say, not as tall as others. I guess that's a nice way to say. So they're shorter guys, and so that's a thing for a lot of women. Height is a big thing for women. So some guys will lie about their height. Now, obviously, when you get to the first date and you see your date and you see that they say they're 6'1" and they're clearly like 5'8", the jig is up. Like it's like, okay, well, obviously this person. So it's not the same thing, but it's kind of similar. If you're gonna be on a date, and I don't know, like I don't know in terms of like the blind community, if someone sees you on the first date, are they gonna know that you're blind, or are you able to somehow hide that in some way? But I always feel like it's just better to be as honest as possible. Here's the other thing. I've been on all the online dating sites and dating apps and everything for research, but also because, if I'm not in a relationship, I'll be on there just to see who I can meet and possibly, date, that kind of thing. And so I definitely lied about my age first off on a site because I don't look my age. I look way younger than my age. And so I've lied about it on my profile, but then on the first date, face to face, I'll tell them straight up on the first date. So it's like I've lied in the beginning because people do make judgments. It's true, of course. People make judgments about online dating profiles and dating app profiles. So if you are going to omit information or not tell somebody, it's important that you tell them pretty early on, because the longer you go dating someone without telling them like important information, or something that could be not even a concern, but just something that's a big part of your life. If there's something that you're not telling someone that's a massive part of your life and your existence, that just feels weird. And then people start to think, well, what else are they hiding? Is there something else that they're lying about? So if someone doesn't want to say that they're, visually impaired on their profile, then for sure, like the first date or like early on, for sure, I would say it, for sure. Definitely. So, I mean, maybe there's a way, and again, I haven't really thought too much about this, but maybe there's a way to do, to put, not a hint necessarily, but maybe there's a way to put some sort of hint or say something that's like suggesting that there might be an impairment on your profile, but then when you're in person, like tell the full scope of it. But so it's, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's kind of like, maybe there's a way to do it that way. So then it's not something like someone's totally blindsided, by it. But yeah, everybody has something, right? There's everyone that has something that they need to share with someone that's not like, there's no perfect person, like in terms of what society says is perfect. So everyone has something. There's always something that's like, someone might be a little bit nervous to tell somebody or those kind of things. So it's like, again, whether it's somebody's height which again is a huge thing for some women, especially, which I've never had a problem with that, but like height or ethnicity or, whatever it is. I mean, eye color, hair color, like a physical disability. I mean, there's a lot of things that everyone has something, and so it's just a matter of finding the people who are, okay / excited about what it is you have to offer, because that's the other thing, especially for singles, it's obviously with dating, it's personal, it is easy to be offended if you feel like someone isn't interested, or sad if someone isn't interested. But the thing is, no one likes everybody. Like, everyone's not going to like me, everyone's not going to like you. It's just not, like, mathematically, it's just not possible. So once we get past the point where we're like, oh, well, this person doesn't like me, but it's okay, because, like, not everyone, like, I don't think Ryan Gosling's attractive, okay? And I know that's crazy, right? Because a lot of women think he's really beautiful. I do not. That's a perfect example. Some people aren't going to like Ryan Gosling, and some people aren't going to like me, and some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. We're just looking for the people who are really interested in us, that we connect with, that we get along with, that we're on the same page with, and we see a possible future with. And then who cares about the others? Who cares?
Well, there's no way to fake it in person. I mean, once you're on the first date, it's a wrap. It's damn near impossible to fake it. I don't know how you would fake it if you were total. Partial, you kind of, sort of, but total, no. The height thing is an interesting example. That's kind of stupid, though, because when you meet, like you said, the jig is up. I mean, what? Some people are stupid. I've actually had women stop talking to me when I tell them that I'm blind, and I think others on here have had the same effect. There's this whole stigma, misinformation about blind people, and I blame the media for it, and I kind of blame us for it too. We're portrayed as either superheroes or complete inept fools that need to have their bottoms wiped. And it's not like that. We're somewhere in the middle. I mean, we're just like everyone else in a lot of ways. But there are some of us who are not as educated. Their activities of daily living, the ADL, is not as grand. So like they're not well groomed or well dressed or whatever. But you know what? You get that with the so-called normal people too. So I think I'd get it out of the way with a quickness. Just mention it. Just tell her, because it's important. And if they don't want to be bothered just because you're blind, then you know what? F them and the horse they rode in on. So, there you go.
Hello, that's a really good question, and it's one that I've dealt with. I've been on the only real online dating site I've been on was POF, and because the app is really accessible, so I for a while was on there, and I am very upfront about my blindness. Because the fact of the matter is, I look blind, and my eyes are kind of underdeveloped, and if you look at me, you can tell that they're not quite right. So they're not like, I don't think they're gross or anything, but they're just small. Excuse me. And the second thing is I primarily work with a cane or a guide dog. So, I mean, it's very, very obvious that I'm blind in that sense. So I think that you're right. I think honesty is the best policy. I think that if, things like, for me, things like my religious preferences and how intense I am about my religion and about my blindness are the two of the things that I let someone know right on the profile, because I want people to know what they're getting into, and it kind of weeds out the ones that you don't want. If someone's really serious about you, then the blindness isn't going to be an issue. Of course, I have some photos posted, or I had some photos posted. My niece is a really good photographer, so she takes some photos of me and posted them, or helped me get them posted, because that part's not very accessible, at least on the POF app, it's not. But I don't do the online dating thing anymore. I'm just, you get some really people that you don't want. At least I've gotten some people that I really don't want to have anything to do with from that particular site. So I just don't do that. But yeah, I totally let people know up front what's going on there. So, because that's just very important. I don't lie about anything. I'm the kind of person that I'll let you know what you're getting into, and if you don't like me, hey, that's okay. So that's just how I roll. Hope that helps.
Told someone that I was blind. Oh no, I'm not visually impaired, so maybe you are, or maybe you know some people that are, but I'm blind, and. But I will say, I don't tell people right away if I'm speaking with them, on a dating site or whatever. I don't tell them right away. Mainly because I want to be the one to determine if they're worth a shit to date. Maybe somebody I don't want to date. Maybe, I find out about their characteristics. Of course, I'm a guy that asks a lot of questions. For the most part, I've been very fortunate. Never dated a woman that's cheated on me. I've never, had that kind of problem. But I ask a lot of questions, and I talk talk for quite a while before I want to meet somebody. I just don't want to meet every Tom, Dick, and Harry I meet. So, but if I did, I would probably tell them I'm blind right off the bat. That way we could get that out of the way. But I found most of the time, if you talk for a while and you see that person's worthy of your meeting, and then you tell them you're blind, most of the time it works out okay. I only had one incident in my life where it didn't work out, and the lady was very nice about it. We went out and so on and so forth, and she just said, I don't think I could feel comfortable with a totally blind person, and I respected her for that. I really did. Where I feel, and I've seen this happen. I don't, I've never done it because it's not my way to do things, but I've had other people who I've known that are blind who come on and right away tell the people that they're blind, and people who don't know blind people, and they of course they feel uncomfortable right off the bat, and they haven't even gotten to know the person, and they find an excuse to exit the conversation, and they didn't even give that person a chance. Where if you don't say anything for a while, and for me, it's I want to find out if they're worthy of me even telling. Sometimes I've talked to people. You start talking to people, and you find out a couple of days later they're not somebody. Maybe they're a person who's don't have the same beliefs you do, or the same morals, same likes. There's so many things in a relationship or in a friendship or whatever that come into play, where if you tell them right off the bat that you're blind, you're already eliminating even getting to know a lot of people. That's my views of it. It's worked for me, and it'll work for everybody else if they take that approach. Now, what I find nowadays is listening to the blind community since I've been on here. They don't talk to enough. They don't talk to the person enough before they decide to get involved in a relationship, and then they end up having situations come up that they really get to know that person on the phone or online first. That those incidents wouldn't come up; they could be avoided. But it just, it's worked for me.
Hello, how are you? This is from Chicago, Illinois. Well, it seems that most people who go online, I recall seeing, I'm blind, hearing a study saying that people tend to lie, not just the men, but the women too, about how they look. So apparently it's contagious. But if I was going to be involved in one of those things, I would, from the beginning, put in the whatever section where you put about yourself that I am blind, because that I'm blind. You know what I mean? But yeah, from the beginning, because this is what I am. This is what you get. But then I put all my wonderful and incredible attributes that I have, and how wonderful it would be for a woman to date a blind person, because one, you will not have to worry about us looking at other women. So you don't need to worry about that. Two, when we are making love, you will know the full experience at touch, because we are into touching and experiencing taste, sound. So all those things we'll be doing since we cannot see you. So there is wonderful advantages. But yeah, I will from the beginning say it. I don't believe in not saying who you are or lie about those things.
Teddy Bear, that sounds like a pretty good approach, and that's probably the same approach I would take. Not tell them right off the bat, wait till you get to know them a little bit, wait till they get to know you as a person, not as a blind person, because you're a person first. So you don't want them to, categorize you as a blind person. We're still real people. We still do real things, and we still have real experiences, and I've that's how I've met several of them. The girls that I've been with. I will say that some of them knew that I had a vision problem up front. Yeah. I will say the last two relationships knew that I had something wrong with my eyes up front, and then I give them a full disclosure a little later on that, my vision is decreasing and I will not have good vision forever, and it's just a matter of time. And even since I've told them that, things have really changed a lot for me. So as far as vision wise, but yeah, good question, and I agree with you, Teddy Bear.
Hey, good morning, Teddy Bear. Just wanted to say, yeah, you gave a good answer to this. There's so many people out there that, yeah, you wouldn't want to be dating, whether they're sighted or blind. And sometimes when you talk about blindness right off the bat, it's an instant, immediate situation where people judge or they will stop talking to you, etc. I mean, it just happens. You know, it's hard to say when the actual appropriate moment in time is to sometimes discuss that. But ultimately, it has to come out, and especially if you're going to meet somebody and go to dinner, have a date, whatever it might be. Ultimately, it has to be discussed. And if the person has a good heart and is a good person, well, it won't bother them so much. But you can kind of ease into the subject a little at a time and find out if they're comfortable with blindness. And if they're not, and you can still certainly talk to them and try to get them more comfortable with it. But if they're not willing to be, then you know that that's just definitely not a good situation. So, just wanted to say you put a good answer out there on that.
I agree with you that it is important to be honest about obvious, important facts from the beginning, because as you said, it's just too easy to be found out, especially when that first date comes along. That, or you get to know somebody, you get to like them, and you're head over heels for them, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, they don't know the real me, they know the fake me that I made up for my profile. So definitely, honestly, I do have a funny story. About 5-6 years ago, I was exchanging emails with a lady online, and then we exchanged phone calls, and we agreed to meet. And when she met me in person, now I have my cane, and I went sighted guide from the car to the motel room. But once we were in the room, she went into the bathroom, took off all of her clothes, and came back out into the sitting area / bedroom. And she did this because some of her friends had told her, how do you know he's really blind? And this was her answer to that question. So when she came out of the bathroom, if I had gotten an erection, if I had stared at her tits, if I had done anything to give a sign that I had vision, even the slightest amount of vision, then she'd have probably been out of there so fast it wouldn't have been funny. But I only have light perception, and in a dark room I can't see anything. So unfortunately, it turned out she was supposed to be at her sister's art exhibition and felt guilty about being there with me. And guilt is one of those things, it's hard for you to overcome that, especially in your first encounter. Okay, great post. Thought you'd enjoy my little story. Take care. This is Maxwell, 50-year-old, single, white male from Houston, Texas, tall, totally blind, totally okay with that. Take care now.
Single finger double tap.
Wow. Well, I usually I don't know, this is a tricky one for me. On the one hand, I I would like to think that disclosing that would be of great use to me before the first date. But at the same time, I feel like if I disclose that, it just pushes everybody away. Because, like, I mean, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm blind, because I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, it's not derogatory, but it's not like, it's like, kind of folksy, it's like, kind of improper grammar to me, grammatically improper, and to me, it kind of does come across as sounding derogatory, like, because I feel like when people say the word blind, it's like they use it as like a euphemism for saying, like, are you retarded, or something like that. Like, they use it as like some sort of insult. So I would just say I'm vision impaired, and if they ask me if I can see, I say no, I can't see at all. Because, I mean, just, like, to say blind versus vision impaired, it just seems more, sophisticated to me. So I don't mind telling people I'm vision impaired, and if they ask me, can I see, I just say no, I can't see at all. But at least I sound sophisticated.